Hello guys, in this tutorial I'm gonna go over a very simple way to do rock sculpting. Let me start with anything like this cylinder here and press T to go to edit mode. Let's change the material to something more like rock. I'm gonna go for the let's see, matte cap metal. Probably not good enough. Let's see something else like let's just use the default one, matte cap gray. Press P to have the perspective, and then let's dynamesh it. Geometry. First, let's make it a polymesh 3D, and then let's do dynamesh. Alright, value is too high. Let's change that back to 32. Dynamesh it. Okay. Let me shape it. First of all, you want to make sure that your shape is, the big shape is very well, designed. So it has to be something different. So I'm gonna use the edge polish to, try to push some faces in and out, just to have some variations on the big general shape. Alright. Okay, let's dynamesh it again. One of the brush I use a lot for rock sculpting will be the inside of the brush in the light box. You can press the chroma button to turn that on. Let's go to brush and then trim, and then trim smooth border. Okay, when that is selected, let me give that a shortcut. So okay, and then also I need an alpha for that. The alpha will be something more like a very sharp square. I don't see the sharp square here though, so I'm gonna try maybe that one. Probably sharp enough. Alright, let's go there and start sculpt on the surface of our model. Now you can see now this brush gives me all different variations, and I can't quite explain how exactly this brush is working, but on the other hand it does actually do the job. So you just need to start use this brush to go through the surface of your model, and eventually you will get very nice variations. And sometimes holding down Alt to pull some of the vertex out. Alright. So kind of want to have something here. Let me use my clay build-up to give it some curvature, and then go back to my trim smooth border to start giving it some variations. Alright, like this. Gonna do something on the bottom too, holding down Alt to pull some surface out. You can also release Alt to push some surface in. Eventually you'll get this very sharp variations on it. Alright, let me dynamesh it, and then I need more subdivision there. To do so, let me go crank up my dynamesh value. I'm gonna use something like a 64 this time and dynamesh it. I have to do something and dynamesh it. Alright, and then I can start doing more detailed stuff using the same brush. You don't want to destroy the big shape you have there already if you kinda like it. But if you don't, you can always try to change it. But what I'm doing here now is trying to create more variations. Alright. So I'm using the same brush, just struck through the surface of the model, trying to add in those, you know, sharp transitions, sharp edges, and layers of rock. You can try multiple times. If you don't like it, you can always Control Z. Just make the stroke flow and see how that gives you, you know. All right. I think I need more subdivision level. So let me dynamesh it one more time, and this time I'm gonna make it sharper. To do so, there's one thing you can go for, which is the underneath the geometry, there is a clay polish, and let's make the sharpness really high here, and also the sharpness and repeat sharpness. Okay, make them really high, and let's do a clay polish. What that does is making all the edges very, very sharp. Okay, that makes it more like rock. Great. Let me dynamesh it one more time. I'll probably have a higher subdivision level. So 128, just gradually bring up the subdivision level, and then start using the same brush again here to have more variations. One of the things you always want to have on rock is layers of, you know, rock. That means some area around the rock you want to have variations, like layers of, you know, rocks like that, layers. So since like that, you have like one layer, another layer, and then another layer, since like that, to, you know, have those variations. I think that's particularly true at the bottom of the rock. So I'm just trying to do that here. Okay, see, now I'm trying to create all those smaller layers. Let me dynamesh it. Okay. All right. So now I have those layered kind of, you know, variation. You don't want to go and have, you know, everywhere to have the same effect. So you want some of the areas that have those variations a lot, and some of the area is pretty empty. That way it builds up the contrast between details. Just make the focal length really low, like a -100. That gives me a sharper result. polish this one. Alright, so gradually build up those variations. One thing you may want to try is gradually also make your brush smaller, so you're having smaller details. Don't try to control it too much. Try to have those accidents, those unpredicted, variations there. Sometimes they will look really nice. If you don't like the result you're getting, you can always Control Z. Alright, so I'm adding some layers here too. No, you have to understand that if you don't have enough topology or faces to work with, you have limitations on how detailed your rock will be. So you also want to crank up the subdivision level sometimes, or more more resolution on the Dynamesh if possible. I'm always trying to make them very small at the beginning and also gradually make them bigger. I think that's how I work on it, but you can definitely try your a very high value at the beginning. I think that's also working for some people. I guess different people kind of have different sculpting style. I'm more like I'm more focused on the big shape all the time, so I really don't care if how detailed my model will be until the last minute, because the big shape is what actually matters eventually. Go back to my trim smooth border. Just have some more detail here. I don't quite like that. Then I mesh it. Okay, alright. So I'm gradually having all the very sharp variations across the surface of the model. You can keep doing this until you are happy with the result you're getting. But that's the basic method. Okay. Let me do that little clay polish trick one more time. Then I mesh it first, and then let's clay polish it. Okay, to have a very sharp result. Then I mesh it one more time. This time let's crank up the resolution to a even higher value, so to 256. Okay. Then I mesh it. Let me draw some final touch on it to enhance some of the smaller detail on those faces. I'm gonna draw random strokes there. I don't quite like black in there. Let's Control Z, go back. Alright, so that's that, and the other part we need some cleanup. I can use the edge polish to you know, if I want them to be flat, edge polish is better to make flat planes. Sometimes I think that's useful too. I don't really want them to be that visible over there. I need the big layers to be more visible. Alright, I think that's pretty much it. If you want to use this rock later on, then we can actually just give it topology here right away. To do so, you need to go to the Sculpt 2 and then let's duplicate this one. Okay, for the duplicated one, let's the remeasure it. Okay, the remesh model will be more lesser dense, and we'll be having lesser geometry. I think that's still too much. Let me lower the Z measure value down from 5 to 1. That's gonna give me a very low poly geometry. Okay, so that's the base geometry of my rock. And to get the information back from the high resolution one, I just need to Control D to duplicate it. Oh, sorry, subdivide it a couple of times. See, one more time. My subdivision level here will be 5 or so, and then let's go there and show everything, and go to the Sculpt 2 project, and then project. Oh, that will project the information from the high subdivision level geometry into the low one. Now you see this one have similar topology or shape now. Sometimes you do have to fix some of the smaller things, so not a big deal. Just sculpt the detail back. now I have a rock that does have a topology that I can actually work on now. They're created by the Remeasure. Now if you shift D, you can go back to subdivision level 1 or go up by pressing D button. Still something needs to be fixed here. Alright. Now to use it in game engine or in other renderers, we can bake out the maps. Before we do that, we need UVs, right? To do UVs, let's just use the UV master. So you plug in UV master and then work on clone, unwrap. Let's see how that looks like using flatten. You know, well, not very good, but decent enough. I'll flatten it. And let's copy the UVs and go back to the rock, the original rock, which is this one. Okay, and then paste UV. Okay, just making sure. Let's go to the UV map and then let's do a morph UV. Okay, alright, now we have UV, we have subdivision level, we have the detail, and then it's time to bake the maps. Let's go back to another material. Oh, every time when you use the UV master, you end up with some polypen on it. So let's turn that off. Alright. So let's bake the maps. There are a couple of options you can choose from. One of the things is let's go to the plugin, and to bake those maps we use multi-map exporter, and we can do displacement map, normal map, ambient occlusion, and cavity if you need that too. Or I think in other softwares like Quixel or at least Substance Painter, you can actually have this high resolution model there to bake the map inside of Substance Painter. Here I'm just gonna bake it. So let me go in the normal map. Let's turn off the displacement map. Ambient occlusion, cavity. I don't need cavity for the normal map though. Let's go to the export options. The normal map have to have tangent, adaptive, smooth normal all on. Okay. Smooth UV is something if you need to render the geometry by pressing 3. If you don't, then don't check that. All those 3 are needed though. So tangent, adaptive as normal has to be on. Ambient occlusion, just leave it alone. Let's bake it using 2K texture, and let's create our map. Let me see, PC in progress. Let's just call this rock. Okay, so rock, and then ZBrush will bake those textures for you. And then with those textures, now you can move on to other software to do like texturing, and I guess that's it. That's how I normally create a rock. The process is quite simple. All you need is this trim smooth border brush, which I think people use this a lot for, things like rock or variations that are random, and also the clay polish is really useful to give you sharper result. Alright, I guess that's it.